Dear viewers, welcome back to Ntv Europe's regular program Ntv Exclusive. Today we are talking about Brexit and the future of United Kingdom, and I've been very delighted to be accompanied by David Burrows MP, Conservative MP for Enfield Southgate, and also at the same time he is a committee member for Home Affairs Select Committee. Right. Thank you very much once again, David, for being with us today. You are a great supporter of Ntv family, so thank you very much once again. On our first segment, we were talking about the consequences of Brexit, the complex ramification. On the second segment, we were trying to find out the implication of Brexit beyond the United Kingdom. But this segment, our final segment, we will try to focus Conservative Party and also at the same time your politics, your personal politics. So you've been very vocal about social justice. You are a great supporter of bringing Syrian, giving a fair chance to Syrian refugee. You also campaign against alcohol abuse, and also at the same time you campaign to have some sort of measure for homelessness in London. Even also at the same time you sleep outside to raise concern about homelessness in London. So would you be able to talk us through your campaign, your recent campaign? Well,
I mean, I got into politics because I wanted to make a difference, a concern for others. And I think people look at politicians and sometimes think that we're just caring about getting a job here or getting some influence or power here. But we have to genuinely be there to serve the people. And that matters greatly. And I love my area of Enfield Southgate. I love going up to Parliament, speaking up for it and speaking up for the area. But also I care passionately about speaking up for those who don't have a voice, a concern for the vulnerable, those that need us to be on their side. And that's something which we haven't always necessarily thought Conservatives do. But they do that, historically they have done that, but we've not perhaps been best at communicating it. And in these times when there's not so much money around for public services, we have to watch the money that's spent. We must make sure that the money that we are spending is going to help the most vulnerable, people who can't help themselves. So you mentioned homelessness, and so I've been keen with Bob Blackman and others who are good friends also of the Bangladeshi community that we are making sure that we are preventing homelessness by ensuring that local councils have a duty to reduce homelessness. So when someone is about to be evicted, before they're evicted and on the streets and get a bailiff's notice, that the council's involved in trying to find ways to get them accommodation and support. To ensure that also we are there looking out for those who really need our support. And we mentioned
there are some really good campaigns regarding it.
And so for example, the issue of refugees is something which is a global issue. It's a huge challenge for
and you also
Syria.
You mentioned, if I could, one of your speeches that you made at Parliament, you said it's too late, too little. What this country is doing, but also at the same time you emphasize that UK is contributing significantly in terms of foreign aid.
That's right. And so back in the day of the previous Prime Minister, when he was looking at just simply providing just a couple of hundred extra places for Syrian refugees, I said then that's too little too late. We have a responsibility, yes, to ensure that we are providing pretty much the most international aid, £2.3 billion. That's where it's most needed in the region. But are the most vulnerable
0.7% of the GDP, which is really good.
It is very significant. And that apart from America, we're out there giving the most, and that's brilliant from taxpayers doing that. But also they're the most vulnerable who won't be able to stay in the region. They need to be protected. They are fleeing persecution. There are often women, actually, sadly, who are facing trafficking, facing slavery.
The most vulnerable group.
And there's Christians and others who are also persecuted because of their religion, and I care passionately about freedom of religion. That they need support, and so they need to find a refuge, and to avoid being smuggled or trafficked through illegal routes, but they find a safe and legal route through to this country. It's only a small contribution compared to those in the region who are
providing. It can make a big difference in those individuals' life.
And so I was really calling out to the Prime Minister, one of the few Conservatives to do that actually, calling out, please, we must do more. And thankfully he responded that we would, and so now we've got routes for 23,000 vulnerable refugees from the region. And we must make sure that when they're here, that we are providing proper sanctuary and safety. Scheme. So it's trying to ensure that actually even if they come here illegally or even through legal routes, that we're providing proper refuge all the way through to because this country's got a great historical
Absolutely.
record.
Helping the vulnerables, even during Second World War time.
Exactly. And so we've done that, and we can continue to do that in this modern challenge of those who are fleeing persecution. So we've been very much involved in that, and to make sure that all the way through we are caring about the individual. These are human people from families. I'm a passionate supporter of families. I come from I've got a large family myself. I've got 6 children, and recognise the value of a loving home.
Well, congratulations for that.
No, but those who haven't got that, or for one reason or another are away from their family, those lone children, we must make sure that they don't go missing, they aren't trafficked.
So are the government listening to your concern? Do you
and the Prime Minister has had a great lead in being in championing tackling modern slavery. She passed a hugely important Modern Slavery Act that makes sure that we're world leaders to prosecute those horrible nasty slave traders, but also to make sure that we're providing more support. So there is support for that. I mean, there is a balance. I think. I mean, I've spoken out sometimes against my own government when I believe they're not doing the right thing, because it matters actually at the end of the day. Speaking out for justice, speaking out for those who are most vulnerable.
Well, you do care about social justice. That's what I have gathered.
Yeah, and so it matters. It matters because we're doing what's in the best interests of the vulnerable people around, and also our community. In London, we have a real diverse community. Many have come here. Some have fled persecution. Some have come because there's skills that need to be used here. But I think we've got a good understanding in London from our diverse backgrounds that we want to care for the most vulnerable, that we care about our families. We want to reach out to those who need our support, and we can. We know we've got the ability to do that. We are a very busy, cramped London, but we must have space for what is just a small contribution to the global effort to tackle the refugee crisis. So so that's a really important area. And I think from our Conservative Party point of view, and the Prime Minister said that, is that key to her premiership is not just Brexit. And what we'll see shortly is her going to publish a social justice paper, which will define her government, hopefully, that she does quite rightly care for those, yes, those who are just managing, who just need an extra support to get into work, to get extra support, but also those who actually are left behind, those who are most vulnerable, who need our support.
It's not just the buzzword that she made when she went to 10 number 10 Downing Street, rather she will also do that in her day-to-day work. Is that something you're suggesting?
Yeah, that's right. And so she said she was fighting burning injustices. So the issues of mental illness, the fact that all too many are sadly looked upon less than those with physical ill health, to raise their esteem and also money to them and support. For those who've got drugs and alcohol addictions, who are finding it difficult to get to recovery, for those who are homeless, who need a proper long-term housing support, those people with complex needs that have been left behind, I'm hopeful, and I'd be pushing her to do more. We had a recent question issue about housing benefit for young people.
Yes, you said particularly the young people, people those who are under 22 years old, their benefit will be, they will go through some sort of austerity, and you spoke against it.
Their housing benefit will be cut. Now, it's a general policy. The government want to encourage young people to be earning or learning, but there's some people who may not be able to be at home. They may have addictions, mental health problems. They may be themselves being abused, so they need to go into hostels that are run by those organisations like the YMCA. And they told me that they would be really concerned if they didn't have housing benefit to pay for that accommodation. That could mean no way for these people to go, and they'd be on the streets. And I know the government is wanting to tackle homelessness. My good friend Sajid Javid, who was at university with, he's now responsible as a Secretary of State for that, and he was speaking just today.
Is he passionate about the same cause?
Yeah, he is. He wants to make sure that, he said himself today that housing is the biggest barrier to social justice. And that matters. We need to obviously make sure we've got more supply of affordable housing, but to make sure that we don't pull the rug away from young people who can't stay at home for whatever reason and may well still need to be getting benefits. And so the Minister, after I raised that, she did come back to me and said, yes, those people with those complex needs, those health issues, mental health, addiction issues, they will be exempt from the cuts.
And I think many of your Conservative colleagues supported you in that particular
They did
cause.
so. And so it's all, so what I'm doing with colleagues is without, free from fear or favour, on the backbenches, just ready to challenge the government, so keep looking out for the vulnerable.
Well, 1922 committee is a very powerful committee.
We are, yeah, we're known as the men in grey suits. I've got a blue one here, and there's some women there as well.
Upholding the, the dignity
so
of it.
our job is to tell the Prime Minister
and you
as
are
it is.
executive member of that
Yes.
committee, and you are chair of the Justice Committee, am I right? Of that particular committee?
Yes, I'm the
within that particular
yes,
group.
Right. So we met with the Prime Minister this week to tell her in a confidential way what's going on, what the mood is, what people think, and to relay
I hope
to
she's
her.
listening.
Yes, she is actually. She listened very well. I mean, she's just come from a Commonwealth service. Just heard the news about Nicola Sturgeon wanting to have another referendum on Scottish independence. All those things happening, and all the issues of Brexit. But she is a listening Prime Minister, and she's someone who is, I think, has a good record.
Is she going to do anything in also the same time she'll take some practical actions, not just listening, also the same time?
Yes, and I mean, there's a wider debate, for example, the budget, about the proposals to increase national insurance contributions for the self-employed. That's got people concerned, because we as a party care about enterprise, care about those people who want to make the most. But the business rate is
going up. I mean,
and that's an issue we've raised as well. Is that
this is not going to help
for Londoners, for small businesses,
is the backbone of the nation.
The biggest issue actually is the business rates, and it was welcome that there is small business rate relief for lots of small businesses. But in London, some of them have properties that go above that rate, and we need to make sure that we aren't losing our small businesses from the high street. So we need to see how this discretionary fund is really passed out to different people, and make sure that small businesses aren't cut out of it.
Thank you for that, David. David, I mean, I just want to remind my viewers that back 2005, when you got elected as MP for Enfield Southgate, it was the most swing seat across the whole country.
It was.
And you've been MP for 3 consecutive terms. So how confident you are about the future, considering the boundaries are changing?
Yes, the boundaries are. So I'm going to try and make sure that Enfield Southgate stays as it is, and any people who are listening who want to go on the Boundary Commission website to support Enfield Southgate staying together, it should do so. There are sometimes politics has changed so much in the last months, in years, so one can't take anything for granted. In Enfield Southgate, it used to have a big majority Conservative member Parliament, Michael Putillo, then a Labour, big swing to Labour, and then a big swing to me, and that's so that means I can't ever take my constituents for granted. But what I think they saw in 2005 and now in 2017 is that I don't just stick to one political tribe. I actually care, and I care about my constituents and care about the most vulnerable. And so they don't always necessarily support everything of my party or another parties. Increasingly, people aren't so interested in party politics, but hopefully they will be voting positively for people who stand up for the right things and care about their country.
Thank you very much, David. Do you have any advice for Arsenal?
Well, first of all, I would, before advice for Arsenal, I would encourage people. I was a young person once to get involved in politics.
Definitely,
and it's so important for people to realise that they don't need to know everything about it.
And particularly what's happening around the world.
Yeah, get involved now. This politics is so interesting now. Get involved, contact your local political party, because you can make a difference in your local area. I was a local councillor once and then Member of Parliament. For Arsenal, well, like a government, we need a good defence and we need good leaders. We've got a good leader, Prime Minister, we maybe need a new manager.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, David, for being with us today, and thank you very much for all your opinion and thoughts. Dear viewers, today you are watching NTV Europe's regular program, NTV Exclusive. I'm your host, thanking you all for joining us today. This program will be available on YouTube as well. We'll see you next time. Till then, take care and bye.